Today we are here, Kurefushi no Sato Kofun so which means Kurefushi village, Kofun or Tomb Park. So we are in Ibaraki prefecture, Mito city, and Ushibushi town. Ushibushi actually means prostrated cow or bowing cow, so it's kind of a quite interesting name. So anyway, this is a Kofun Park, so there are quite a few Kofun in this area. If you have a look here, it actually goes up to number 17. You can't actually see all 17 within the park, but looking at a sort of broader picture which goes beyond the boundaries of the park, you can actually see pretty much all 17. I'm going to try and find them all, so we're going to go on a journey together and see how many we can find. And it's pretty interesting because there's like the classic keyhole shaped tombs, kind of like a scallop shaped tomb, round ones, big, small. Later in the day I'm going to go down here, but this is sort of away from where we are now. And yeah, so let's go take a look around. So this tomb here is pretty much the star of the show. It is Ushibushi Kofun, so prostrated cow number 4 tomb. So this is the kind of I don't know what you call it, topographical, I don't know what the term is, but yeah, detailed dimensions and specific information about the tomb itself. Is there anything I can see at a glance? So got your length and your width, diameters, height, and so on and so forth. Okay, talking about the haniwa, the kind of sort of figurines that we'll see on there, like this sort of around the edge, around the terrace, and talking about the shape, and 90. Yeah, okay, let's go and have a look anyway. I'm making a fool of myself. One thing I'm going to point out is that generally, even if tombs like this, there's an attempt to make them kind of touristy, it doesn't get maintained that well. Like you can see the sign here, there was another sign underneath, and now it's sort of ripped off, but nobody's bothering to fix it up. So yeah, well done, Japanese government. So this is the number 4 tomb. This is the this is what's generally known as the back of the tomb, which is the round part, and you can see the sort of pot shaped things around the edge. They're called haniwa. So we're going to go and have a walk on the tomb itself. At this point with my other videos, usually I'm just filming, walking around, getting different angles, and then I'll go home and stick music over the top. But yeah, today I'm doing something a little bit different. So let's head up. Nice flowers here. It's probably, you know, can do a little bit of maintenance after flowers have gone, but yeah, it's kind of pretty and it's a beautiful day. Like, it's an amazing day here. It was raining the other day, so I'm really lucky with the weather. So one thing which I find quite amusing and actually a bit disappointing, I have to say. So this here is actually fiberglass. Obviously these are replicas, and obviously 1500 years ago they weren't made from fiberglass. I really wish that they made them in, you know, terracotta or clay or whatever kind of pottery they were sort of originally made in. It just comes across as a bit cheap and a bit tacky. I guess it's made to last longer, but I don't know. I've never seen that before, so it's a little bit interesting. So now we're on the top and heading towards the front end. So these tombs are called zenpō-kōen-fun. So zenpō is sort of the representing the front bit, and koen is the round part at the back, which we're looking at in front of me there. So combined zenpō-kōen-fun, or translated as keyhole shaped tomb, which is pretty obvious looking at the shape of the tomb. So this is really nice. It's obviously been restored, and you know, stairways and such, and I think generally it gets pretty well maintained, except yeah, summer's coming up, so I guess they'll give it a bit of a grass cut soon. So let's go and have a look here. Okay, now we're at the highest point of the tomb. More fiberglass pottery, if you can call it pottery. And here, kind of getting a bit of a full view of the tomb. So what are these things anyway? So these are called haniwa. As I mentioned before, they were originally like kind of clay potted items. Originally they were in this kind of shape, just sort of looking like pots, but later on they evolved into figurines, figures of people and animals, weapons, shields, and different stuff. The original intention of them was to replace humans. So at one point in time back in Japan's history, there was human sacrifices made when emperors were buried, and that sort of changed during history, where there's an emperor who said, look, I don't want my people sacrificed to die with me. So they come up with the idea of making these haniwa instead, and so they were kind of like your burial items. And then it's also said they were sort of used to I guess make the tomb look a bit more grandiose and imposing, and also sort of like structurally, like to, I guess, sort of, you know, tape it together in parts in a sense, and also for spiritual tributes and spiritual representation, like going to the so-called heavens with sort of items they would have had back on earth. Like some haniwa are actually in shape of houses, warriors, dogs, monkeys, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, that's my pretty bad explanation of what haniwa are. I think I'm going to make a dedicated video to them one day, but that'll do for now. So yeah, one thing I noticed about this tomb is that it's very steep. Like the rise is quite an angle, where generally these tombs it's a little bit more of a subtle sort of climb, but if you look, you know, from here, which would probably be my thumbnail if I had an individual video for this, yeah, you can see it rises up quite sharply, which is pretty cool, and it does look imposing in that sense. So yeah, I really like this tomb, and let's go and move on to the next one. It's probably worth mentioning that I didn't actually sleep last night. It's 9 o'clock in the morning now, but I actually caught the 4:50 train, so I thought if I'm going to sleep I might not wake up, so I wanted to catch the first train and get here early. So if my rambling is rambling, then that's the reason why. If I'm talking crap, because I'm not really awake, but you know, seeing these tombs is definitely giving me a bit of an energy boost. Anyway, number 2. So zenpō-kōen-fun. This is the same shape, the keyhole shape. Length 45 meters. The diameter of the round part is 28 meters, and the sort of long extended end 36 meters. So this one's very different in so much as it's overgrown with trees and shrubbery, although the trees are really nice pine trees actually, so I quite like this. And I don't mind the rough and rugged kind of tombs. It is nice when they're all fancily restored and maintained, I have to say, and I've complained before that most of them don't get that treatment, but it's kind of cool to see them a bit more, how can I put it, native, a bit more untouched, so that's cool. And sort of looking along the length of the tomb, now we're going up, and there's something up here which I'm guessing is a shrine, and indeed it is. So okay, so there's the shrine sort of down there, path is leading up, and then the sort of, you know, main part of the shrine is in here, which is locked away. Probably have a look inside. Cool. So yeah, now shrines and Kofun often go hand in hand. Main reason being is that the people who are buried in the Kofun, you know, they have I guess spiritual powers, or maybe I guess godly like powers, which later on, like the shrines came long after the Kofun were here, but the shrines were built to tap into that sort of spiritual godlike vibe from the entombed people in the Kofun, or entombed persons. So that's one reason why, like, a lot of Kofun come with shrines. And I guess the other reason is sort of, I mean, I'm just guessing here, but aesthetically, obviously these Kofun are like little, almost little mountains at times, definitely little sort of hills which are raised above the surrounding area. So obviously this shrine is going to stand out and going to look a bit more, I guess, significant. So let's have a look down here. So this is the sort of main part of the shrine, and inside here is the kami-sama, or where the god is stored, where the god resides. And this is a bit of scaffolding going on here. Yeah, so all this there, and there's the tori, or the gate, leading up to the shrine. So this is definitely a spiritual place, a power spot, energy spot. And yeah, I've seen so many shrines and been to so many over my time looking for Kofun, and I quite like it. I can't, I'm not going to pretend that, you know, I'm a shrine expert or anything like that, but I certainly appreciate the ambience. And yeah, just back to my rambling on about shrines. Like, one thing I do like a lot is that, you know, like if you go to Kyoto or other tourist places, I mean, not that Kyoto itself is just a tourist place, like obviously it's very, very important historically, but a lot of things there are overrun with tourists, and you go to a shrine or you go to a temple and it doesn't have any sort of spiritual vibe, it doesn't have any peaceful atmosphere, and it's just, I don't know, I personally find it off-putting. So when you're in a place like this and you see a sort of shrine in the middle of nowhere and there's no people, the energy is so different. And yeah, not that I'm deeply spiritual or anything like that, but I certainly appreciate the vibe. Anyway, let's head on to the next tomb. So just something interesting here. There's actually a little cemetery in here, in amongst the tombs. Out of respect, I'm not going to go and film right up close, but yeah, as I kind of mentioned in my other video where I kind of first revealed myself, yeah, cemeteries and Kofun and shrines go hand in hand, and yeah, it's all about that afterworld energy, the heavenly spirit, or or it's probably not appropriate to say heaven for shrines, but or tombs, but yeah, spiritual energy. Now this is interesting. So I actually saw this sign before, but I don't quite know where the tomb is, so I'm going to come back to this in a sec while I have a look. So number 1 tomb, also a keyhole tomb, and I found where it is. It's right here. So I don't know why I didn't even see this at first. I should know by now. I've seen enough of these tombs, but you can kind of see the shape here under all the foliage. So it's kind of, each tomb's getting rougher and denser than the previous one, but actually we'll see sort of more maintained ones again in a moment. But yeah, so this is the number 1 tomb, and it's another keyhole shaped tomb. I'm not even going to walk up there because I saw a snake on my way walking here before, and yeah, I'm just wearing shorts and sneakers, so I'm not really game to go climbing through a thick scrub. But okay, I'll go a little bit closer, risking my life for tombs. And yeah, anyway, this is, if you can make it out, number 1 tomb. Okay, so here's something a little bit different. Number 5 tomb, En-fun, or round tomb, or circular tomb, which means the same thing, doesn't it? So diameter 28 meters, height 5.15 mitoru. So it's basically this, and as the sign says, it's basically a round mound. And if you're thinking, oh yeah, it's just a little hill, just keep in mind this thing's from the 6th century, and there was, or maybe still is, I'm not sure if they've opened this up. They probably have, given this is a proper sort of Kofun Park. But yeah, there were artifacts inside, and somebody of high status in society as well. And something interesting here, if I'll just go back. So growing on the side of this tomb is this, which is called take, or bamboo. And these are quite in demand. Like when bamboo are at this stage, well, actually probably a little bit smaller, like basically people dig them out of the earth and basically eat them as, chop them up and eat them as bamboo shoots. They're quite a delicacy in this country, and yeah, it's, I've never done it myself, but I've seen shows where people dig them out of the earth, and it takes a bit of effort and quite a bit of skill. So it's quite interesting. But that said, I hope the bamboo doesn't eat up the tomb. That will be a disaster. So as we're farewelling number 5 tomb and moving on to the next one, I thought it's worth mentioning that there's a few of these Kofun parks in Japan that I've been to. The most well-known one is in Saitama in Gyoda. It's called Sakitama Kofun Park. You might have seen my video, actually 2 videos with the snow falling on the tombs. That's Sakitama Kofun Park, and the tombs there are huge, and there's quite a few of them. There's a cool museum, and even tour buses go there, which is really rare for these tombs to even have people, let alone tour groups and school excursions. Yeah, and another Kofun Park is in Gunma, in Maebashi. It's called Omuro Kofun Park, and again there's a lot of interesting tombs there. Both of those parks are probably bigger than what I'm looking at today, and yeah, but they're really interesting. And there's another one somewhere which escapes me at the moment, but yeah, there's actually probably quite a few in Japan that I haven't even been to yet. But definitely, if you do come to Japan and want to go to an easily accessible kind of place to see the tombs, I would recommend the one in Saitama definitely as a destination to, you know, maybe half a day, day trip or half-day trip from Tokyo can easily be done. If you want to go a bit further afield, then head to Gunma, and Gunma is really the place to see the coolest tombs. Yay. Number 7 tomb, 18 meters height, 1.5 meters, which is just this kind of little risen area from the earth. So yeah, this is another tomb, and just another variation in the shape and size that these tombs come in. So let's head on. Okay, as we leave our little number 7 tomb there, and now we're heading to this baby, which is certainly more outstanding. I don't know where the sign is, but I'll find it in a moment. But obviously it's another one of the lovely keyhole tombs, the zenpō-kōen-fun. Yeah, and it's nicely bathing in the sun there like a prostrated cow. So let's see if I can find out what number this is. Oh, okay, there's the sign there. I really hope there's no snakes in here. I've seen quite a few snakes in Japan. In my whole life in Australia, I saw one snake. For all the talk of, you know, the dangerous animals in Australia, I saw one snake in 40 something years. In Japan, I've seen, you know, probably about 7 or 8 snakes within a few months. So this is number 3 tomb, zenpō-kōen-fun, 44 meters. So there's a little cemetery kind of shoved in the corner of it. And yeah, let's go on up. And here we are at the highest point. Looking across the length of it. Let's wander down to the other end. And there's nobody here at all, which it doesn't surprise me that much, but I thought a place like this there might actually be a few people. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know why people don't care. I certainly care. I quite like the little sort of forested pathway here. The pine trees are really beautiful, and it's actually making it nice and cool on what's turning out to be a pretty warm day. So we'll keep moving on to the next tomb. Looks like it might be a round one as well. Big tree growing in the middle of it. Okay, where's that sign? Here we go. Oh, I just remembered, in Narita, where the airport is, if you're traveling to Japan, you're probably quite familiar with it. There is quite a big Kofun Park. There's like something like 128 tombs. Like, there's not many big ones. A lot of them are very, very small. But yeah, it's huge, and the area is called Boso Nomura, I think. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the name. Anyway, you can check it in Google if you're interested, but it's very close to the airport. And in fact, there's quite a lot of tombs in Chiba around the airport, so who would have thought? Okay, number 6. What I thought was a round tomb is in fact not. It's another what? Okay, I think that's telling me it's a scalloped shaped tomb, which actually makes sense now. Looking at it, I can kind of see the tail. Okay, so I think this is the sort of upper higher point of the tomb, and then I think it tails off into here, or perhaps around the other side, which is the sort of lower end. I might swing around to the other side and have a look. Okay, now we're sort of around the back. The tree in the middle there is quite interesting. Okay. Alright, I think the tomb sort of goes this way, then tails off down there. I'm going to climb up and have a look. This is frustrating me now. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So here's the lower end of it, and then up to the peak. Wow, that's a hell of a tree. That's awesome. And here's a touch of Shinto again. I don't actually know what that's called. I probably should. I'll find out one day. And coming up under the tree. Wow, that's beautiful. And yeah, and this is sort of looking back towards the tail or head of the tomb, whichever way you want to look at it. So yeah, it's nice here. Nice and cool. Nice and peaceful. And pretty damn historic. And this little bitty thing here is also a tomb. It didn't even earn itself a sign, but I recognize its position from the map, so there you go. Nobody would have imagined something like that could be so historic. Okay, let's find another one. Next up, we have a beauty. The beauty, which is number 17, zenpō-kōen-fun, 60 meters long. The round bit 35 to 38 meters. The other part 24, and the height not 5.46, not 5.48, but 5.47 meters. So check this out. Which way? Okay, let's climb on top first. Wow, I really love this. The shape is so perfectly defined. I love how that the round bit up here, it's so wide, expansive, and the top is so flat. It's such a classic shape. Yeah, I think I'm getting into Kofun lovers mode here. I'm really getting quite excited by this. So yeah, we're up here on top, and yeah, it's like you know, tabletop flat. That's so sick. I'm looking back along the length, and something of interest here, this little shrine house, whatever you want to call it. Have a look inside. Full of coins, untouched. Now you see this everywhere in Japan. There's no need for security. They're not going to be, you know, blocking it off or locking it off or anything like that, but people won't touch them. I guarantee you, if this was in Australia, there would not be a coin there. Okay, so now we'll downwards, and conveniently built stairs, obviously not from ancient times. They're actually a bit hard to walk on. Okay, so let's see, let's have a sort of a side view of this tomb. I think it's going to be cool. I have to say this is my favourite tomb here. I like it more than the, I think it was the number 4, the main attraction, so to speak. This one's perfect. Check that out. So next tomb, and for the record, I have yet to see a person here. I've been here now for 2 hours. I don't know. Anyway, so this appears to be another round tomb. Got to jump out here to see the sign. Yep. Okay. And this is half obscured. Number 10. Enfun round tomb. 20 meters, height 2.5. Check that out. Okay, let's climb to the mountain top. Yay. I'm actually curious as to whether these tombs have been excavated and researched. I'm pretty sure they have. It's quite obvious that they would have. You probably even see it at the sign, on the sign at the front, which I'll try and work out later. So yeah, that is number 10, and to find the others I think I have to go kind of there in the bamboo bit, so let's have a look. Alright, so these other sort of tombs out of the main park are these ones down here. Number 9, I don't know if that's going to focus. Anyway, 9, 16, 11, 15, 14. These ones down here, which are going to be in here somewhere, so let's go and take a closer look. Okay, so obviously this is one of them. I don't see any signage. I guess we'll just have to assume. Yeah, it's definitely one of them. This will be another one. It's kind of funny how they didn't bother putting signs for these. It's just, oh well. These are just extras. We don't really care about them, do we? We'll just, you know, chuck them on the map at the front, but leave them unidentified. Cool. Let's go up. Yeah. Ooh, wow, cool. And this is one thing I really like. Wow, I'm up high here. This is one thing I really like about Ibaraki. Look at that countryside. That's gorgeous. So actually, Ibaraki gets quite a bad rep. In fact, maybe the last couple of years it was voted as the least, I suppose, how would you put it, least popular prefecture in Japan for like tourism, like, you know, least appeal. I love it. Like, I think it's beautiful. Like, I showed you the countryside over there. It's peaceful. Like, a lot of the houses here are amazing, like traditionally built, like new houses but built in the traditional fashion. Like, they're awesome. And yeah, and obviously the tombs and the history here. I know, I love it here. I don't understand why it would be rated out of the, what is it, 47 prefectures of Japan. Ibaraki is down the bottom. No. Okay, this is probably another tomb as well. I'm gonna safely assume it is. And here's some kind of a wood chopping kind of little place. And here is another tomb, bamboo going bananas. Let's go and have a closer look. It's interesting, I went to Tochigi the other week, and yeah, it's a very similar environment. Big tomb with bamboo growing all through it. Ah, okay, so in fact this here is, I think on the map it was number 9. So this is actually a keyhole tomb. You can see there all the way through to here. Ah, that's awesome. The bamboo's cool as well. Wow, I love this. I wasn't sure what to expect coming to this little section here, but this rates in the top 3 in this park. This is cool. So that's looking down the length of the tomb. I hope snakes don't like bamboo. Anyway, risking it. Wow. It's so cool in here. Cool as in, well, cool as in both meanings of the word. Cool as in sick, but cool as in refreshing as well. And even earned itself a little shrine. Yeah, hey. Wow. Yeah. This is what I would call tomb paradise. Okay, so that's that one, and I think we can head back to the main park now. It is interesting how this little bit isn't part of the main park as such. I guess it's some kind of private land, or you know, has some other association to it, but it's alright. Tomb there, tomb here, and zenpō-kōen-fun over there. Okay, so I think that's pretty much all the tombs. I don't know if we actually saw 17. I wasn't counting. I'll probably count them when I get to making this video. But we definitely saw most of what's here, and a lot of interesting tombs, different shapes, different sizes, some prettied up, some about as rough as it gets. So yeah, I really enjoyed myself here, and I was sitting here thinking about it. It's actually a graveyard of sorts, where there's so many tombs in a very small area. Like they're pretty much right next to each other, which doesn't happen that often with Kofun. Like they are normally a bit spread out, even if there are quite a few in the same area. I mentioned about the Sakitama, the Saitama Kofun Park and the Gunma Park. They're quite a bit bigger than this, and I mean the tombs are bigger generally too, but they are a bit more spread apart. So this is very packed in, compacted. So yeah, it's quite unique and it's quite cool. So I hope you enjoyed that. You know, probably most of you are now saying, "Oh, go back to the music. We don't want to listen to your crap. So just shut up and play the weird music."